Hi, I'm Nick Shell. You've heard your whole life that you shouldn't care what people think about you. And while I agree for the most part, it is true you shouldn't care what people think about you, I also want to say you should totally care what people think about you. In some ways it really matters. And the reason I got to think about this in the comments this week in the videos, it was again brought to my attention that, you know, if you're going bald and you want to get a hair transplant, well, how is it that much different than if you have horrible teeth? And, you know, that would give you not just confidence, but it gives you a better appearance to the world. So I totally get it. I get that argument. I also feel that you could say the same thing about a female getting, you know, breast augmentation, but I guess that's debatable. But ultimately, what people think about you does determine your life to some degree. But here's my argument. Here's where I'm coming from. When it comes to our hair loss, and someone had also left me a comment this morning saying that they wish they had the confidence that I have despite the hair loss that I'm experiencing. They said they're 23 years old. Now granted, that's awful. I feel bad because at age 23 I was insecure about my hairline starting to recede and noticing that and assuming that it would happen quicker than it has. So I can understand if you're 23 and already experiencing more hair loss than me, I can understand what you're going through. That's why I'm good for you. That's why these videos are good for you, because they're the one positive, strong outlook on all of this to help you overcome it. Because what's not going to happen is there's going to be some magical cure and, oh, suddenly you're not losing your hair anymore. That's not going to happen. But what is going to happen is that you'll learn to overcome it. That's what will happen. And I hope to play an important role in that. But this thing about caring what people think about us, it totally does matter. That's the truth. In certain ways. And those are the ways that we should pay attention to, not the ways it doesn't matter. You know, for example, my whole life, and maybe this is a cliche word, my whole life I've been quirky. I've been doing my whole thing my whole life, and I just didn't care. Like, for example, I mentioned yesterday in that video that no one watched, but someone requested that I did about sports. I talked about how sports has never been something my family has ever valued. We never had the game on. There was no game. We didn't know the teams' names. It never mattered to us. It held no value in our household. My dad never cared about sports. I never cared about sports. So why am I even talking about sports right now? Oh yeah, that's right. I was like, am I gonna have to end this video and start over? But because I wasn't into sports, I was always into different things. And like music and writing and acting and all that stuff. So I was just doing my own thing. I really didn't care what people thought of me in that way. But then obviously, to some degree, you do have to care what people think about you. Otherwise, you could be the annoying guy. Nobody wants to be the annoying guy, the obnoxious guy, right? Well, when it comes to your hair, though, when it comes to your hair, as far as what people think about you, like, yeah, I get it. If you're losing your hair and just letting it grow on the sides and go bald on top, I could see how that would look like a sign of like weakness, like, because not that media is the best place to go to for an example here, but often in movies, if you see a guy modern day, and he has no hair on top, but he's got the bozo effect where hair on the sides, then typically in a movie, that's a guy who is pathetic. He has no control over his life. He's not dominating at all. He's not successful. He's just kind of an afterthought in society. But you can take the same man, dress him up nice, make him work out for a couple months, and shave that head, then he's suddenly Mr. Tough Guy. And so I get it that's how, I think that's a reflection of how society can still perceive people with that issue. But again, we can overcome that by shaving our hair. But ultimately, it's never about really. Here's the thing. I actually know men that are younger than me that even have that haircut that are, I'd say, at least as confident as I am. It's crazy how much confidence has to play with that. Has to do with that. Here's what I'm saying. When it's all said and done, as far as what people think about you, as in a way that it actually matters. What matters is how confident they see you. Really, no matter what you look like. And that goes for females, that goes for people in your office, people where you work. People are drawn to confident people, which is why you're watching this now. You know, some people don't like my confidence, and I even had someone like use a homophobic slur on me yesterday for like having too much hair. It was really weird. But a lot of people, there's people out there who don't like me because I am confident, and I always do have something to say that's positive. And some people just don't like that, and that's fine. But as far as you caring about what people think about you and it actually mattering to the degree that you should care about what people think about you, here's what I'm going to tell you. I'm going to say it matters in a way that's crucial to your life. It matters what people think about you when it comes to how much you believe in yourself, despite what's happened to you or what you're going through. When you can be confident despite that, then that's what's actually impressing people. That's what actually gets you further in life. And I know that. How do you think I started this channel growing from 100 people in January? Just by being confident and talking about this stuff. That's all I've got. I'm no magical person. That's all I've got. I've just got confidence. People like that. So hopefully I myself am a testimony to the fact that it doesn't matter how much hair you do or do not have. What matters is that you seem sure of yourself. And like it's so funny. I keep hearing this so much from females that I work with in my office. And like did you see that interview where I interviewed the two girls a couple weeks ago that I work with? And they didn't know I could hear them, but they were telling this story how they're out somewhere and this guy just walked into the room so confident. And like they were talking about how he was attractive. They weren't even talking about what he looked like. They were talking about how they were attracted to him, how he walked in the room with confidence. They don't know that I even heard them say that, but they did. So if you don't like the fact that I talk about how important confidence is, then I understand. But I'm telling you, that's the part when it comes to caring what people think, the opposite is true too then. That means if people think you don't believe in yourself, that you don't have a belief system, especially as it regards to your confidence level, then they're probably going to see you as weak or uncommitted or someone they are kind of apathetic towards. But when they see someone with passion and confidence in themselves, then typically that means that's someone they want to be around, because imagine this. The way people treat you is a reflection of themselves. When someone calls me when someone calls me a homophobic slur for having too much hair to be talking about receding hairline, which again did happen yesterday, that's a reflection of that person. You can't be at peace and go around calling people names. I'm convinced of that. People who have inner peace do not put people down like that. They don't. I do have inner peace, and I'm able to actually help people. So it comes down to you believing in yourself, even if you don't. And just like I said, with those girls who saw that attractive guy just because he walked in with confidence, like that was what they saw. So as far as it mattering what people think about you, it matters they think that you're confident. If they think you're not confident, then it's hard for you to stick out in a way. It's funny that confidence is what stands out. Just like light will stand out in darkness, in our world, in our culture, if you're confident in yourself, even if you don't even have that much stuff, you may not have much going for you. But if people believe you're confident, that matters more than how you actually look. With or without hair, however that tends to be, that's actually what matters. So, should you care what people think about you? Nick Shell says yes. But mainly, it comes down to them thinking that you're a confident person. With or without hair. We don't even have to be talking about hair. We can be talking about anything. As far as people's perception of you, you want them to think that you're confident, even when you're not. And someone said, Nick, well, I'm not a good liar. I can't be like you. I thought that was funny. I'm like, well, I'm a good actor. That's why. I'm a good actor. So therefore, even if I'm not confident, I act like I am. I act like I know what I'm doing. And I don't express that I don't feel confident in myself. I just kind of go along with it. And that's how people perceive me. And that's the version of reality that people think is real. Even if I know better. You might call that manipulative, but maybe that's what confident people do. So, you should care what people think about you when it comes to confidence. That's one way you should. As far as other ways, probably doesn't matter so much. But in that way, it does. Forget hair. I preach confidence in yourself, with or without hair. Have people believe you believe in yourself, and they'll believe in you. If you don't believe in yourself, then they won't. It's that simple. I'm Nick Shell. This was 11 Minutes of Your Life.